Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on One with Ann and Priscilla. This program is sponsored by International Committee on Nigeria with the campaign Hear Their Voices. I'm excited to have Ann here. Ann, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here and share this important conversation with our viewers and with you.
That's exciting. So, Ann, I'm sure some of our viewers are wondering, what connection do you have? Why are you passionate about the voices of women and children in Nigeria? Why are you passionate about this campaign?
So, my husband and I went to Nigeria for 16 years, and our kids grew up there. I had the privilege of talking to many women and children, talking them about trauma they had been through due to the violence of terrorist attacks. And so I really have a heart for people in Nigeria, especially the women and children who seem to be most vulnerable.
Yeah, and for me, I'm Nigerian myself. And so the situation and the crisis in Nigeria has impacted me personally because I still have immediate family in northern Nigeria facing this crisis and being displaced by what's happening. So we're excited to hear their voices. Having lived in Nigeria for most of my life, this is personal, if I may say it that way. This is personal. And so the impact of this situation has been mostly felt on women and children.
So I think we'll just jump into the first voice that we will hear is a woman from Kaduna who has been impacted by a church attack there.
Yeah, this voice will be sharing about her experience having survived a bombing in a church in Wusasa, Zaria, the Ekwagunis Church in Wusasa, Zaria in Kaduna State. Please take a moment and listen to her voice.
In June, around 2012, in Zaria, there used to be military checkpoints as you enter Wusasa. That particular Friday, the military packed out that the government asked them to go back to the barracks in 2012. And as one concerned, we asked, and they said that's the order from above. Only for us to go to church on Sunday morning, and the pastor got up during notices and announcing that a letter was sent to church that Boko Haram will visit us. We don't know when. But he's not telling us to scare us, but he's telling us to prepare us. Bomb was planted. A suicide bomber came into the church with a car to bomb the church. And at least I have an experience of what it is to be involved in a terrorist attack. And I got convicted, saying, "Father, help me, show me mercy, and show me how to give you praise." It's at that instance that we heard the sound. I can't describe what it is like. To the glory of God, I sat where the car blasted, but I don't have a scar to it. But I lived with the stigma for years that if it is said today, it pains me to my core. It seems to me that no one is speaking, or even when we speak, no one hears us. I'm sure many other people have spoken what I may say. But one thing I know is that I will say the truth because only the truth can set one free. There is problem in Nigeria. The church in Nigeria is under attack. It started as Boko Haram, but today in Kaduna State, they enter their villages and kill them. Around Bilingwari, headsmen kill people. I live on the road around going to Bilingwari. And every time you hear siren that they are carrying dead bodies. People are afraid to travel on that road. Where I come from, Borno State, if I speak to my cousins there, those that have gone to school have nothing doing. Children that are eligible to go to school are afraid because they can be kidnapped. Girls in Chibok have been kidnapped. In other places, they've been kidnapped, and there's no legitimate story about them or their sanity or their person complete. At least if it not affected my siblings in Kaduna, I have relations down there, a friend to my cousin or someone that is related to me. Besides, I'm a Nigerian, and even from where terrorism is eating up people.
Wow. Wow. I think what stuck out to me the most was the stigma she's talking about. There's definitely a before and after you experience the bomb blast. What her story reminds me, nothing compared to it, but the first bomb blast that went off in Jos. I don't know if you were in Jos at that time, Anne, when the main market was bombed in 2001, and just the fear for your life, the constant fear for your life, it changes you. It changes who you are. She says she lived with the stigma and the pain. You know, one might say, oh, she didn't get hurt. Good for her. But there's something that happens to you when you're that close to being killed, when you know that your family is not safe, and you're constantly, every day, hearing news about this family and about the children. The impact of this terrorism is so devastating for women and children who are the future, and the women who nurture these children. So, Anne, what did you hear from this?
Well, that's interesting you would say that, because that's also the thing that stood out for me. I'm always amazed at how people get stigmatized when they've experienced trauma. And I think it's mostly the women and children that get stigmatized. It's not the men. And so they're much more vulnerable, and it impacts the whole community, not just the people who were at the church or nearby.
Well, there's more to hear, more to learn. Let's go back and hear this voice from Nigeria.
I want the American government to stand up for the truth, to expose the evil the government is. The terrorism in Nigeria is a money-making venture for the government. I want the government, the American government that is superior to Nigerian government, to come and find these men, whoever the leaders of this country are, in the helms of affairs. There were a time they went for men like Saddam Hussein. There were a time they killed this man that bombed 9/11, Osama bin Laden. Nigeria is in hell. The leaders are held responsible. They should come and help us out. Let the American government find the governments the way they have funded other nations out and try to put sanity. What is going on is not for the good of the children and women, because they are the end of this. If husbands are killed because of Boko Haram, women are meant to suffer. They are meant to carry things that naturally they are not supposed to carry. People live in hunger. They cannot eat or feed. People are in poverty. Schools are locked down for no reason, for no legitimate reason. They say corona. They carry corona and forget that there are other deadly diseases around that kill more than corona. They are not talking about malaria that kill babies. They succeed to eradicate the elderly from our midst.
Well, you heard it for yourself. There's poverty, there's suffering. What can you do to help? And I just want to bring it down to what you do every day is you share things. So yes, you can go to icanhelp.org, but share this video. We need people to hear this particular voice. And can you talk a little bit just before we go, why it's important for people to hear these voices? Because why is it important for people to hear this Nigerian women and children?
Well, I think partly so they don't feel alone. I think when you're in a crisis situation, which is actually what they're in, not just from the pandemic, but actually the pandemic is less impacting them than some of these day-to-day crises of poverty. And so I think to hear their voices, they realize they are not alone. And that's what's so wonderful about social media and the internet now. And I think we as Americans can educate ourselves and understand more by looking into things and asking questions. And so iconhelp.org is a good place to go with questions or comments, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. You heard it, iconhelp.org. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Share this broadcast. I can't say that enough because we want to get this information to as many people as possible. We need to hear their voices. Thank you so much for joining us in this very first episode of One-on-One with Ann and Priscilla. And thank you for being here with me and for discussing this situation.
Thank you, Priscilla.
Yeah. Have a wonderful week, everyone.